380 ACP versus 32 ACP and pocket pistols, and what we have today is our Hornady XTP ammunition. So our 380 ACP is a 90 grain XTP rated at 1,000 feet per second. Our 32 ACP is a 60 grain XTP also rated at 1,000 feet per second. The reason why I'm using these two ammos the way I am is because there is no 380 ACP in the Hornady custom line anymore, and there is no 32 ACP in the Hornady American Gunner line. That's just how they do their ammo, but it's essentially the same product line of ammo. So to test our 380 ACP, I'm using my Ruger LCP, and to test the 32 auto, I'm using my Kel-Tec P32. Very similar pistols. Should be a pretty fair test. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. We're going to go into plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential is for those cartridges for hollow point expansion. What I mean by that is, no denim or anything like that in the way to clog a hollow point. We'll see if we get any expansion. Then we'll move on and do a real world simulation. 4 layers of sweatshirt material on this first 3-inch piece that represents our pectoral muscle. After that, we'll have a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum. That'll be our real world simulation. So we'll do a plain clear ballistic shot and a real world simulation shot, and then I will shoot at the steel target to see what kind of practical accuracy and shootability I can get with these. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 380 ACP. By the way, this is a 90 grain, and the 32 is a 60 grain. I think I did mention that. XTP bullets, both rated at 1,000 feet per second. So let's see what we get here with our 380 ACP. My little LCP here. See how close we get to 1,000 feet per second. .901, 952, 870, a little bit of extraction failure there. Could be my gloves. 873, 938. Actually not too bad overall, being rated at 1,000 feet per second to get those kind of velocities. Now our 32 ACP, also rated at 1,000 feet per second. Let's see what we get with our 32 here. 817, 803, 839, 821, 828. So there's a significant difference there in our velocity from our rated down to our actual velocity. So our 380 is a lot more powerful. But again, this is like shooting at like a 22 or something. Very, very low recoil. So let's hit our ballistics gel block and see how these two compare. All right, our plain clear ballistics shot. No denim in the way to clog a hollow point or anything like that. Let's see what we get with our 380 ACP. All right, let's hit that with our 32 ACP. Let's go take a look. All right, I'm very surprised that we have essentially the same penetration. I thought there would be a significant difference there in penetration, but it does look like a reason why, a more powerful cartridge didn't penetrate any further is that it does look like that 380 had some expansion, as where it doesn't really look like the 32 does. So we have a little bit more energy dump in this first 3 inches with our 380. A little bit better track here for cutting damage, and what we got for a penetration is about 12 3/4 inches of penetration. Camera parallax always make it look like that's a little bit further up when we're back here, but yeah, 12 3/4. Our 32, we actually got about 12.5 inches of penetration. So very, very similar penetration overall. So let's put on our fabric, put in our rib simulation, and see how they continue to compare that way. All right, 4 layers of sweatshirt material, 3 inches of clear ballistics, a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. Let's see how our 380 ACP does. All right, hit that with our 32 ACP. Let's go take a look. All right, so that fabric and that MDF definitely slowed down its potential to get expansion with both of these, because now the 380 doesn't have any expansion. We'll take a look here at our medium density fiberboard here. Both these holes are straight, and that's actually good for these low powered cartridges. With the power level that we're working with, we don't want to see tumbling right away, because that would really slow down the penetration. And we got no expansion with our 380. And we got a penetration of about 15.5 inches of penetration. So yeah, we got almost 3 inches more than what we got through plain gel, because, you know, the 380 expanded without fabric and MDF in there. So it got bigger around and penetrated less. Now our 32, you know, because it didn't expand in that first shot, you know, we're not going to see expansion in the second shot through the MDF. So therefore, the only thing you really got to lose is penetration through the MDF, and that's kind of what we saw going on here. So we have penetration of about, I'll give it 10 3/4. It's a little bit shallow, but it's not too terribly bad. You know, if you had to make a side shot through a big attacker, it probably wouldn't reach a vital, but most front shots would. Because clear ballistics is roughly a half representation, not exactly, but you got to say if you have about 11 inches, well, that's like 5.5 inches in a chest cavity. So you're on the threshold there, whether it's going to work. So interesting performance. Let's pull these out of block. We'll take a close-up look at them, then I'll shoot our steel, see what kind of practical accuracy and shootability I can get with these. All right, so here's a close-up look at these bullets going through plain gel. Here's our 380 ACP. Decent looking expansion. And our 32 ACP, it started to try to expand, but just couldn't quite expand. I'm going through our medium density fiberboard. Things change up completely, at least for our 380 here. MDF shot with our 380, no expansion. Our 32 ACP, no expansion or deformation at all through our medium density fiberboard and fabric. So our 380, 32, not much to learn by looking at these up close, but that's our close-up look at those. All right, 12 yards from the target, just to kind of see what kind of practical shootability I get with these. I did put my extended magazine here on my Ruger LCP 380 so that I can have 8 rounds in this to match the 8 rounds of the Kel-Tec here. As the round is smaller, it holds 1 extra capacity. And I'll just line up my sights, see how quickly I can hit the targets with both of these, and see how they do. So 380 ACP, let's say good to us. I'm guessing it's the magazine. That wasn't particularly fun due to that magazine issue. Let's see what I can do here with our 32. Alright, kind of short stroked the trigger there, that's why I slowed down with the 32. It's got such a small little trigger guard, sometimes I can't, my finger's kind of thick, I can't necessarily get it far enough forward sometimes, and that happens. Let me back up just a little bit, continue to shoot these. All right, 40 yards from the target, got my original magazine here. Hopefully this thing will run a little bit better with this. It might not, but 380 ACP, so I can do it from 40 yards. So we had one stove pipe jam. That's pretty common with pistols with small feed openings, but let's see what we can do with our 32 here. Kind of hard to see where I'm hitting because I didn't repaint that because it's like 11 degrees. I don't think that's going to dry very well. But interesting overall test here, looking at both of these, and both of them performed about like I would have expected, except I think our 380 performed a little bit better than what I would have expected, because I honestly didn't think I was going to get hollow point expansion through that little short barrel. I've tested it before, but it's been so long since I've tested it through the LCP that I don't really know. Didn't know what I was going to get. And with the 32 ACP, it didn't appear that we had any expansion at all. And a lot of people will look at this and they'll be like, well, you should just carry a full metal jacket. Reason B, because if you're not going to get hollow point expansion, a non-expanding hollow point becomes a de facto full metal jacket. So you should just use a full metal jacket. And I disagree with that for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is a lot of the jacketed hollow point ammo out there is manufactured at a little bit higher quality than some of the full metal jacket stuff. Like a lot of rounds, well, let's say 380 ACP or even 32 ACP Federal Hydroshock, well, they're going to have sealants around the primers. It's going to prevent moisture from getting in there. That's going to last a lot longer. The other thing is real world statistics will actually say that a non-expanding hollow point is better than a full metal jacket. For instance, a basic 95 grain full metal jacket 380 ACP from Federal, Winchester, Remington, what that has for a one shot stop statistic from a 3.6 inch barrel is 51% one shot stop. A Federal 90 grain, just a regular Federal 90 grain jacketed hollow point, that does not expand. In a real world statistics, what they got is 69% one-shot stop from the same 3.6 inch barrel. 51 to 69% one-shot stop. The goats at Strasbourg tests also indicate that a full metal jacket 380 has a 22-second incapacitation time, as where that Federal non-expanding hollow point has 11 seconds. And we know that that jacket hollow point did not expand, because when they gel tested it, it only got 14.4 inches of penetration, as where the full metal jacket got 17 inches. So there's not a big difference there. So basically what I'm seeing here is it looks to me like a non-expanding hollow point in these type of calibers is acting a little bit more like a wad cutter than what it is a full metal jacket. Full metal jacket will slip right through something, not cause a ton of damage. A non-expanding hollow point has a flat front, kind of like a wad cutter, and it kind of orients straight a lot of times, and there's some pressure going in that hollow cavity, and it is cutting. That's why it doesn't go as deep as full metal jacket that can slip deeper into a target. So absolutely, I would say that you do want a hollow point for 32 and 380 rather than a full metal jacket, because it's going to be more effective. All the statistics point to it's going to be more effective. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, this 32 here, you're only supposed to run FMJs to prevent rem lock, and that might be a thing, but there's a lot longer hollow points nowadays that are made. So, but looking at this ammo, if we don't have to put into consideration expansion, and we don't have to put into consideration rem lock and all of that stuff, I'm going to say here, both of them did pretty well. Our 32 did a little better than what I would have expected, but I was hoping to see some hollow point expansion, but we did not. Kind of expected that, and we have a little bit of under penetration here with our real world simulation shot. So looking at our terminal ballistics, our 380 ACP definitely did better, no question of that. However, it just, the 32 has quite literally half the felt recoil, at least to me, than the 380 in little pistols like this. You go small like this, a 380 starts to feel like it has a lot more sharp recoil, and I'm feeling twice the recoils at 32. So what I'm seeing here is as a cartridge like the 380, it's performing great. It's performing better than this 32, but it hurts to shoot, and I'm not confident with it. I'm looking at the 32. What I'm seeing here is a pistol that's smaller than most 22s, that's more reliable than most 22s, that has about the same recoil as most 22s, but yet it has way better terminal performance than most 22s. So that's where I'm looking at like that. So because of that and the shootability and all of that, I would pick the 32 over the 380 ACP if we were talking pistols this size. Now, if we were going to go to like these Beretta pistols that are made out of steel and they're heavy, yeah, I would pick the 380 over a 32. But you're talking something like this, kind of a niche thing where you're talking about little pocket pistols, 32 is way better here in my opinion. So interesting test. That's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.